And states like Florida, for example, have set up a competitive sourcing center that vigorously goes out and says, all right, here's some service. Can we identify?
Can we put it out to contract
Or competition for it?
Talk about one of the best successes of that is the Regional Transportation District, RTD. Half of its bus service is competitively contracted. The savings is about 40%. Same buses, same routes, same time schedule, same performance. They keep the data, 40% less. Let's talk a little bit about this commission. 16 members, is that right?
I think 16 members, that's correct.
16 members. How were the members chosen of this commission?
Most of the members are appointed by either the majority or the minority leaders. I think there's a formula there for how they're selected. Right now, I think as far as Republican Democrat goes, I think there are 6 Republicans and 10 Democrats. Democrat appointees on the commission.
These are appointees,
right now.
so are there any elected officials, any representatives, senators on the commission?
There are some on there, but it's a broader group than that. That's why it's not an interim committee of the legislature. It's a broader commission to bring in outside people to speak to the issues.
And tell me about the makeup of this committee. Now, I'm thrilled that Amy Oliver Cook, who works for me, is on this commission. I'm thrilled that she'll be there. She'll be a great voice of reason. Why do I have a feeling she's going to be outmanned or outwomaned in this case?
Well, it's kind of like the Sotomayor nomination. I mean, the math doesn't work. This is not a bipartisan approach to the problem. This is a politicized approach to the problem. Just like in confirmation hearings, Republicans are very unlikely to have enough votes to stop the confirmation of Judge Sotomayor. However, here we just don't have the numbers. Again, we don't have the numbers in the legislature. We don't have the governorship, and we certainly don't have the numbers on this commission to, I think, change many minds of, at the end of the day, of what they want to do.
Give me a breakout. What's the number? What's the number of people who want to defend taxpayers versus people who want to see a genuine increase in the budget, increase in taxes?
I would say 5 in favor of lower taxes out of the 16.
So there's a 5 to 11 split on this commission.
Yes.
I think it's pretty fair to say, as all these commissions tend to do, at the end of the day, it will call for more government. It might have some wonderful language and protections and all the rest, but at the end of the day, what they're looking for is political cover to cripple Tabor, yet again, even though it's not in effect.
Well, another possibility here is going around Tabor, and that's what we've seen here for the last couple of years, especially since the Colorado Supreme Court ruled in favor of the so-called property tax freeze. Clearly, that was a net tax increase to the people who pay property tax in Colorado. In addition to that, they went completely outside the scope of that.
For those people not following, according to Tabor, if you're going to put more money into the budget, you need to ask voters for permission. Bill Ritter, has done so without asking for permission,
right.
With a mill levy freeze, with a vehicle car tax, or he calls it a fee, with a Affordable Health Care Act. I love that one. A 5% tax increase on hospital stays. He calls it a fee. We can go through all these fee increases that have gone through without a vote of the people.
Well, and that's the trend. That's the way around Tabor, is simply call something a fee that really is a tax. And in this last General Assembly session this year, we believe that was about $1.2 billion in increased fees that really are taxes that were passed without a vote of the people. And of course, especially on the automobile registration tax, which virtually none of which goes to the vehicle registration department, that's just an out-of-control tax that has been relabeled. And people are mad about it. People are hot when every family in Colorado has to go in. The average family is paying between $90 and $100 in additional state taxes when they register their car. People are mad.
There's always the ultimate question that never seems to get asked at these things when you're talking to the side who wants to reform it and grow the budget, which is, how much more do you want? Just give me a number. And Amy Cook actually asked that of Carol Hedges, who's on the other side of this, and finally we got a number. About $4.8 billion a year is really what they're looking to help come up. That's $1,000 per man, woman, and child. So if the other side has their way, really what they want to do after they fix Tabor is make it so that every man, woman, and child has to pay another $1,000 to the state. At the end of this, you've been through this enough. What is this commission going to recommend? What is it that this commission is going to do?
Well, I take maybe a little bit different perspective on this. I agree with Kent that, for example, that there's been a stealth attack on our tax and spending limits, and they've raised fees. They have basically eroded Tabor through statutes and gubernatorial decrees, so that it's all been under the table. If nothing else, what this commission can do is bring this above the table, and let's have an honest debate about whether we should strengthen these tax and spending limits, or should we erode them. And it's very important, because when we talked about California back in the late 1980s, they essentially had an effective tax and spending limit, and they suspended it through statutes. It's a constitutional limit. They suspended it through statutes. I think there's a very real possibility that this sort of attack on Tabor that's taken place under the table could accomplish the same thing, and Colorado will go right down the road of California with the same outcomes. So if nothing else, what this commission can do is say, all right, here are people who want to weaken and erode our tax and spending limits, and here are people who want to strengthen it and view this a positive part of our fiscal constitution. And let's debate this. Let's have it above board. I think that's a very positive outcome.
But in the last 15 years, we haven't had an above-board conversation about this. We had the under the radar attacks. We had Amendment 23, right, which they promised would work with Tabor. We've had the mill levy freeze. We've had getting rid of the Bert Arbuscal amendment. We've had the Health Care Affordability Act. We've had the car registration fee. And all this stuff has happened. We've never had this open and honest debate. And if they cry right now that Tabor is the cause of our woes, they don't have a leg to stand on, do they?
Well,
real quickly, less than a minute.
Yeah, the other side of that is too that looking over the last, let's say 6 or 8 months, every estimate that's come out of the budget office of what's coming up in the future of the economy and the future revenues for the state, every one of them has been grossly wrong. So how do they manage this in any way unless they have that reality that you're talking about? We need a reality check.
Barry Poulson, thank you as always. Kent Lambert, thank you as well.
John.
And thank you. Check us out at the Independence Institute. That's independenceinstitute.org. Listen for me late nights on 850 KOA. Tell a friend. We'll see you next week.
I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off. The day I met you, wish I'd been in Paris.